Hi guys, this is GA of the podcast Football by the Sea, and I'm just here to talk to you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, well, it's a great way to start podcasting if you're really interested in it. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone, your computer, or whatever setup you have. It works perfectly. On top of that, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It could be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Download the free app or go to anchor.fm to get started. The super reactionary way of fandom.
Yeah.
Well, I guess also fans of actual teams and also fans of other teams just trying to spoil the party of other teams.
And also media likes to play innocent. I'm talking about traditional media. And also, new age media too, but they like to play innocent, the fans and all these reactionary, but they're part of it too, like when Nunez wasn't scoring, they were talking about it, and then after the community shield, it became, wow, HAALAND missed all those sitters, and Nunez looked so good. But then I think I don't know if Liverpool fans were scared because of how people were talking about Darwin Nunez' performance, because everyone was like, because of the price tag of how much they paid for him. But I mean, season is about to start, so let's see how.
I mean, look, both teams are pretty much changing their style to have that central forward, that center forward, that central striker. And I was watching, an analysis of the play of both teams after the game, and it said that for City in particular, you could tell that they're still finding their feet playing with a central striker in the vein of HAALAND. That said a lot of times, they noticed that HAALAND was making runs, but the passes weren't coming to him fast enough because City are used to maybe passing diagonally rather than just straight through like that. And so a lot of times those passes didn't get to him. But he said, but they still made some passes that just weren't fast enough. So, but as they play more, they're gonna get used to it, and with the chance, I mean, he still got 3 or 4 really good chances.
Yeah,
he just on a day
he just skied it.
It just didn't happen to score today. On any other day, he probably would have scored all 3. I mean, I know people were making noise on Nunez this, but then now people saying, "Oh, Nunez has 1 goal," and now HAALAND. I have a feeling that this whole season is just people with their pen and paper ready, "Oh, HAALAND missed 3 sitters today. Oh, Nunez missed this," and then probably at the end of the season they're like, "See, they're not that good. They paid all this money." And it's like,
it's going to be very interesting to see how people, because I feel like that's already the narrative that's going to come. It's HAALAND versus Nunez, City versus Liverpool.
It's already the narrative. There's narratives everywhere. Even in North London, the narrative is Gabriel Jesus and Richarlison.
Yeah.
Even though both players have actually been brought for different reasons to both teams, it doesn't make that much sense to sort of compare them, even though they're similar players. So it's just how we fandoms are. We always want to think that we're better. I was watching the Best of Enemies on DR Sports, and then I think Don Robbie said something that I think the first 10 out of the first 13 games for Arsenal are being televised. And I think for Spurs, it's less than half of that. And then it was because that's a big club. But I said, there's some truth to it.
Yeah,
more
to a certain extent.
More people do watch Arsenal than Spurs. But it's a very silly
thing
to brag about. But and with that, welcome to the show, everybody. I am your host, G-Day.
And I'm John.
And the season is upon us. We just had the Community Shield this past Sunday, which was, I know people called it a friendly, but it's never a friendly between Manchester City and Liverpool at this point in time.
Yeah. It was on Saturday, actually, because the Women's Euros was a Sunday.
Yeah, I know people are saying it's friendly, but I'm just saying it wasn't a friendly. You don't
No.
If no one told you it was a community shield and you were watching that game, you'd have thought it was.
Yeah, it was a real game.
Yeah, it was the middle of the season and they're going for it.
Yeah, and in my opinion, Liverpool deserved win because it seemed like they were more physically fit and prepared for the game compared to Manchester City. But it seemed like Manchester City did grow in the game in the second half, and it was a good precursor to the start of the Premier League season. I would say, two of the highest performing, some of the highest performing teams in the entire world, and they looked good. So I have not too much to say about that besides the whole Nunez HAALAND thing, but yeah, bring on the season, to be honest.
Yeah. We have a bunch of stuff to go through, and finally at the end, I guess we would give our predictions for the season. Everyone is doing that, and it's like the league starts in 4 days.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow, 4 days. I still remember the season ending. I remember the last game of the season.
Yeah, it's been a short summer, but hey.
Yeah, so as we already touched on the Community Shield, and the other really interesting preseason game was Arsenal just for some reason deciding to destroy Sevilla in the Emirates Cup.
Yeah.
Like, I was not expecting that scoreline.
Yeah. I woke up about halfway, I think 60 minutes into the game, and I saw the scoreline was like 4-0 or something, and I was like,
yeah, Arsenal was 4-0 up in
like
19
20 minutes. I mean, listen, Sevilla were a shambles, to be honest, and
yeah, they definitely didn't look as sharp or as I guess maybe they're not that far along in their preseason training, so that might be the reason why. But still,
Arsenal were just ready. They were just.
No one likes losing by that sort of scoreline, whether it's preseason or anytime. It just didn't look good.
Yeah, they look completely frustrated. And it was because Arsenal made them make so many mistakes. They pressed them very high, and they forced a lot of errors. And I think the formation was dynamic in that the front three, Gabriel, Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli are all able to switch, which is something we can see that Arteta wants.
They were switching a lot. I remember watching that game. At some point, I saw Martinelli in the middle and Jesus was on the left, and another time I saw Martinelli was on the right, and then Saka was on the left, and Jesus was through the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does make it difficult for defenders to keep track of who they're covering, and their attack was very, very reminiscent of how pretty much City were playing. Like, it was Gabriel and Saliba who were like the two furthest back, and then Zinchenko, Thomas Partey, and Ben White were the three in front of them, and then it was like a 5 attacking. It was
like a 2-3-5.
So Xhaka and Odegaard were also like as far forward as the other as Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka.
Yeah, so it made for a really, and one thing Arsenal fans complained about last season was a lack of not just creativity, but being able to finish off chances. And having so many players that are creative in the final third of the pitch really gives you more opportunity to break down a lot of teams, especially teams that like to have those low blocks. So...
Yeah, no, it was a really good performance, and like I said, Jesus got a hat trick, and even Eddie Nketiah came on and added the gloss on it with his goal made for 6. It looked very good. They looked very sharp. Like I said, it's still,
I mean, now that the challenge is
translating that into the league
on Friday night, the first game of the season, the opener for the season.
Yeah, I believe that is Crystal Palace away.
Yes. Crystal Palace versus Arsenal under the Friday night lights at Selhurst Park. I mean, for the first time in a long time, what I'm gauging from a lot of Arsenal fans is that they're excited for the first game of the season. And even though it's a hard game away, probably one of the toughest fixtures away of the season, the fans are genuinely excited from what they've seen so far and the signings that they have.
Yeah, I would say it's the first time there in a long time that there is some positivity going into the season. I think the last time there was some sort of positivity or at least some sort of a little bit of excitement was right after Arsene Wenger retired and Unai Emery came in, because for the Arsenal fans it was like a bit of an unknown. They didn't know what to expect, so there was some sort of like, it's not excitement, but at least more
There's
curiosity.
there's a lot more curiosity.
So like people were more open. Oh, let's see what he does and stuff. But then that season, also I think the first game of that season was against Manchester City, and then the next game was against Chelsea. So and I think Arsenal lost those games, but I
You
guess
could see something different.
The fans
Yeah.
were forgiven because it was like it was two of the best teams.
Yeah.
But this time is different. Is that Arsenal has had an excellent preseason, and as much as you don't want to throw too much into it, because Arsenal has had very good preseasons before. I think at the start of Emery's second season, I think they played Real Madrid and Bayern Munich in preseason and they beat both teams. But then you saw how that season went, and then you've seen sometimes they've had terrible preseasons. And then remember a couple of years ago, like Chelsea had a terrible preseason, worse than the one they're having right now. They didn't win a single game, and I remember they lost to the New York Red Bulls second team. That's how bad their preseason was. But then the season started and like they won their first 5 games in a row.
Yeah, but I mean, the way I look at it, you'd rather have a good preseason to not only show what you can do and be physically fit, but to also get the fans excited and get them behind the club. Because we saw how, there was a sort of negativity going into the season last year because Arsenal didn't do well in preseason, and it kind of bled into the start of the season. But yeah, I think people are excited for that first game.
Yeah, I mean, well, still speaking of preseason, Manchester United played like 2 games in 2 days this past weekend. I think first they played against Atletico Madrid, and then against I think, what is the name of that team? It's Rio Vantillet. I think it's Spanish. Is it a Spanish team? I can't remember.
I saw, I don't know, it was a newspaper that I saw online that Atletico Madrid fought, bit, and cheated their way to like a 1-0 win away. And I was like, that's Atletico Madrid, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, I wasn't able to see the game fully because I was concentrating more on the Arsenal-Sevilla game. But Manchester United, I mean, last season they played against Atletico in the Champions League, and they had a decent game against them in the first leg. It was the second leg that they lost it. And this, I think, was sort of similar to that. Atletico scored. The only weird thing was at the end of the game, Fred did some dumb stuff and then like kind of stepped on Morata's chest and then got a red card. It's like,
What?
who gets a red card in a preseason?
Really?
Yeah, and it was like the last kick of the game. He got the red card in like the 93rd minute.
What was the point? Jeez.
Anyway,
what does a red card in preseason? What does that mean?
You're just out of that game. It doesn't. But I mean, you do a tackle like that. I mean, you cannot give.
Yeah, no. What? It's just
a red
random. But anyway.
And then the next, Christian Eriksen came on for his debut for them, and the next day they played at Old Trafford, and Ronaldo was back. And I think they drew 1-1. It was the thing I've seen so far in their preseason is like their new players are looking decent, and some of their youth players coming to the ranks are looking decent as well. So, but for Manchester United fans, I think for them, they need to like, this season needs to be like a write-off for them. This whole season has to be about Ten Hag trying to implement his style.
True. I wouldn't say write off, but I would say they want to see progress with the playing style. And
I don't mean a write off in that like they could come like 15th and just like not that, but I mean they shouldn't be expecting like trophies or anything like that. This whole season should be about, you know, United not starting from scratch, but in a way, it's sort of starting from scratch. It's them
Yeah, yeah.
refining
It's a rebuild.
refining their identity and doing all that stuff. And doing something like that, it requires patience that football fans don't usually have.
Especially for a legacy club like Manchester United.
Yeah,
The huge fan base.
Yeah, because the only place where we can see recently that patience paid off was with Liverpool.
Right.
And so, and I think that should be an example to
Yeah,
all
but
the other teams.
you know, clubs, fans, the media, no one really in practice puts that patience into real life. But I mean,
No, I mean it wasn't easy for the Liverpool fans as well. I mean,
Yeah.
when club first started, you know, that first half season wasn't that great, and then the second full season was just okay. So and then even back then, Club 2 used to make some weird as excuses to it. I mean, so there's always that, you know, I guess teasing times with the club finding their feet, but it still shows that patience works.
no, exactly.
That's what it shows. 'Cause without patience, Manchester United would not have the legacy that they have. Because imagine if Ferguson got hired today, he would have been fired.
Yeah, most teams don't have that. I mean, the last person was Wenger that had that long legacy at a club. We moved past that era completely.
But who knows, man? I mean, Guardiola is still at City. Klopp is still at Liverpool. I think for both managers, that's the longest place that they've been at.
Yeah, which surprised me that they decided to stay that long, especially Pep. But hey, I mean, I guess the structure was good enough, and
yeah, I guess he's enjoying himself, and he knows the people want him there, and he wants to be successful there. So they're keeping.
Yeah, moving back to transfers. So you know the Yuri Tielemans, I won't call it a saga, but this one has been going on for a while. He's been linked with Arsenal and Manchester United, and so far, Arsenal have terms completed with the player, but not on the club side, and they haven't put a bid in. So it's going to be interesting starting the season because most of the journalists believe that they're trying to get Leicester to lower the asking price. But then Manchester United is also kind of thereabouts in the wings. So we'll see what happens there. Even though the player, from reports, has said that he only wants to join Arsenal. And Leicester is a club that a lot of their players are being linked with moves away. And they're the only club in the Premier League right now that haven't made a single signing, which is very odd for a club that is well known to do very smart and shrewd business in the transfer market. But all their big players are being linked away. James Maddison was linked with a move away to Newcastle. They put in a bid of about 30, I think, million.
Yeah,
but
I
that
saw
was
that, and then,
rejected.
Brendan Rodgers said that it's not even enough for just his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that as well. And I also saw that the keeper Schmeichel might want to go to Nice.
Nice, yeah. And then Wesley Fofana is being linked with Chelsea.
By Chelsea. And I was like, if they need a goalkeeper, I was like, Arsenal is selling one. I was like, I think they could do a trade, but then I think he wants to stay in London.
Yeah.
So he's going
I think that's probably why the Fulham thing.
Yeah, what I heard is I think Leicester, they want to sell players first before they bring new people, and I think most teams know that. But then they want to drive the prices down because Leicester is the one that has to do the selling, and so I guess they're not in a rush with Arsenal and Tielemans. What I heard is Arsenal needed to get rid of a midfielder first before bringing another one in. So, and with the word that what is Lucas Torreira might be going to no, not might be, but it's going to Galatasaray for
Yeah,
a
for like
measly,
5 million.
like I think about £6 million. So that might open it up. It
Yeah, it's very disappointing, but the ins and outs of the transfer window and how certain deals break down with like Fiorentina and those things. Some of those things that we're not privy to, but at the end of the day, we'll get his wages off the bill. We'll get Leno's wages off the bill when he goes to Fulham, and there's still a lot of outgoings also for Arsenal, I think.
Yeah, there is for that. The one that I found interesting is we know that Manchester City has been going after Cucurella from Brighton. I think they put a bit of 30 million, while Brighton wants about 50 or 60 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard is City's ready to walk away from that because they don't want to pay over the odds. And also, I think Cucurella actually put in a transfer request so that he could go to City. Well, then the weird thing I saw is that Chelsea is going in for that, and I don't understand why. Chelsea already have like an amazing left back.
I think what I've read is that they would have him play left center back because apparently he's able to play that position. So
yeah, I have heard that as well, that he can play that position.
But I still think it's a little bit odd considering who they have in that position. And Cucurella wouldn't want to, I don't think he'd want to go there to be a number 2. I mean, I understand maybe if he wants to play Champions League, but, it's the thing with Brighton. I think when Brighton saw that they could sell Ben White for 50 million, they kind of started to dig their heels in and...
Yeah, but they forget that was English tax. Cucurella is not English.
Yeah, that's true. And Manchester City have also dug their heels in, and I think it's reported that they don't want to go above 40 million.
I heard that they're pretty much ready to walk away.
Yeah, and listen, that's from a club that has options. They value the player, but you can see that City's not going to be sort of bullied into paying that price, which I think is above Cucurella's valuation. To me, he is about like a 30 to 35 million pound player.
One good season.
Yeah. Like they got him for about 15 million. I understand that Brian want to make that money, but then at the end of the day, it's just funny, the Chelsea link, because it really just seems like Todd Bowley and Thomas Tuchel are looking, and we talked about this, them not having a technical director or sporting head of football or anything like that. It's just like, oh, this other club is linked with them, let's go after them. This other club is linked, it's kind of like I don't know. I mean, I've heard that Tuchel did want Sterling and Koulibaly, but to me the strategy just seems weird.
Well, at this point they might as well, because Barcelona is pretty much. I mean, I think I saw a joke somewhere that Thomas Tuchel is a secret scout for Barcelona.
Maybe
because they've pretty much stolen their targets of them, which in a way it serves Chelsea right. They've stolen targets of other teams. They stole John Mikel right off Manchester United. After Manchester United, I'd even presented him as a player. He was in a United jersey, but then there was a whole stuff behind the scenes. They stole Willian from Spurs. Willian had done his medical at Spurs, and after that he got a call from. So they've laid their bed. They've made their bed. They're just laying in it.
I mean,
it's the universe balancing things out.
I know I shouldn't, but I kind of feel bad for Tuchel because he just inherited a lot of these problems from the regime that was already there.
Yeah, no, for Tuchel, yes. For him personally, I feel bad for him. But for the club as a whole...
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah.
It's hilarious. I mean, look how much Chelsea fans were laughing at Arsenal with the whole Rafinha thing. Which, fair play, look, from the outside in, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Some part of me was laughing as well, because, wow. But then to have, all this stuff play out, it can't take its toll, especially on him, because, he's just there to coach and manage the team. All this stuff is extra.
Yeah, and it really does feel like how Barcelona was copying off of their homework. It feels like they're copying off of any big team that is linked with another player. They're just like, okay, Todd Boy's like, okay, let's just go and get that guy. So it looks like they could go in for they're going in for Cucurella. And the thing is, Chelsea is willing to pay above the odds, which is not helping the market. It's keeping the market inflated. But, the season's about to start. I can understand they need those players in as soon as possible. Another transfer that I saw that was interesting. Roma is about to announce the signing of Jorginho Wijnaldum, which allegedly, but that would be a very interesting deal for them. I still think Wijnaldum is a good player.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, they just got Dybala for free.
Yeah, which is wild. Mourinho, I think, still has some pull. Alex Telles could possibly leave Man U on a free next month. Tottenham are in talks with Roma to possibly sign the midfielder Nicolo Zaniolo. I don't know much about that player, but he's made about 40 appearances for Roma. So those are the big transfers. Another one that a couple hours ago was announced is that Nice have signed Aaron Ramsey.
Oh, yes. I did see that.
So, I mean, good luck to him over there.
Actually, I thought a Premier League club was going to pick him up, maybe like Nottingham Forest.
Not with his wages.
Look, first of all, no team, even at Nice, they're not paying him those same wages. Nice has nothing close to that amount of money.
Well, yeah, fair, but I don't know what kind of how that deal worked out. But good luck to Nice with that one. I still think he can do well, maybe at a lesser club, because it didn't work out at Juventus for him. Any other transfers you saw recently?
Those are the ones that have gone through that I've noticed. The rest, I think, they're seeing some loans, but none of them are usually for just squad players and stuff. But one thing I wanted us to get into is, seeing as the season is starting this weekend, is to give our predictions. And I know, yes, the window is not over yet, but then, once the season starts and then you give your prediction, no one really cares at that point. You have to give it before the season starts.
Yeah. I always dread these things. I really, I honestly don't like it. But, yes, fine. Let's do it. Let's get it over with.
All right, but let's build some suspense first. So, out of the promoted teams and the teams who struggled last season, who are your bottom three to get relegated?
Bottom three to get relegated. Okay, so looking at the list of teams, bottom three. Everyone has been saying Brentford, and I think it's a high possibility just because that sophomore slump for a lot of championship teams. The second season in the league.
Christian Eriksen helped them a lot.
Yeah, now he's left. Unless Ivan Toney does a madness and scores a ton of goals, I don't know where I see them. Fulham have been a yo-yo club, coming up, going down. Very Norwichy. They do have a new manager, though. I think they will want to really try and stake a claim this year, and I think based off of how their previous seasons have been, I think they can do it. So I won't really put them there. Nottingham Forest have spent a whole load of money bringing in Jesse Lingard and paying him 200K a week, which I don't think he's worth that much. But, they have the money, which just shows you how crazy the Premier League is. So, yeah, Bournemouth, I'm not really that clued in on how well listen, they got promoted, so they did something right. But I just don't know with them yet. But I'll put them within a shout. I would say Bournemouth, Brentford, and Fulham. The dark horse to possibly get relegated. But I think there's maybe too much money there. Might be, I don't want to say it, but maybe ever. You can finish the rest.
Oh, man. Why are you being so dramatic?
I don't know, because they're the only other club that hasn't been relegated from the top flight, I guess, since the English top flight.
Yeah, since
over
the Premier League
100
started.
years, besides Arsenal, and So, actually, you know what? Forget.
So you think Leeds will be fine?
I think Leeds are going to do well this year, because I believe that I think Jesse March has his own philosophy and playing style, and I think he injected something towards the end of the season for them. Obviously, they've lost Rafinha, one of their best players, but hopefully, I don't know how well they've done this transfer window, to be very honest.
They've brought in a lot of players as well. I think they're the third highest spenders.
Yeah, which is crazy, but they obviously don't want a repeat of last season, so he'll have a whole season to really show what he's capable of in the Premier League, and it's not going to be easy, but I think they'll be somewhere around mid-table. Yeah, sorry, I was going to say I wanted to remove Fulham, because I think Fulham doesn't want to be a yo-yo club anymore. Whether that happens,
so who's going to replace them?
Southampton.
Ooh.
Southampton. I don't think anyone is talking about Southampton. They've kind of gone very much under the radar.
Yeah, they're very much an under the rated team, and they have been in scraps before, but then they always just, well, it's not like they pull away, but it's like other teams just get even worse, and then they become fine. Let me see. For my prediction for relegation, I'm putting Bournemouth and Fulham back. I just think those teams just, especially for Fulham, it's usually the same thing. They'll get promoted. They will bring in players that they believe are good enough, and it just doesn't happen. Right now they're getting Arsenal's a former number one, which
is a coup for them, to be very honest.
Which is a very good signing.
Price.
But you could have the greatest goalkeeper, but if he has to face like 20 shots every game, it doesn't matter how good you are.
Yeah.
That's so for me, they're back there. Bournemouth, I think I'm gonna go back there. I don't know, I've been wanting to see Nottingham Forest back in the Premier League, and I think they're gonna be this season's Brentford, who will survive. I don't know, for some reason I think, now that I don't think Leeds are gonna get relegated, because surviving last year, they've ultimately, been able to be stable a little bit in the Premier. Not stable, but at least they've been in the Premier League for a few years now, so they should get used to that, even if they have a new manager.
Yeah, and he seems to me, watching how he was, so even his interviews and things, he seems like he has something about him. Obviously, a lot of people may look at him as an U.S. American manager and kind of dismiss it, but I think he has coaching pedigree. So, and from what he displayed last season in a very, very tough situation, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a surprise relegation. So Everton. No, not Everton. I mean, you mentioned it, which was the Southampton.
Yeah, I just think at this point, I don't know what Ralph Hasenhüttl is doing there. I don't know if Southampton wants to
Because
have any
with Southampton, they were always a decent team, but then they were always like a selling club. But I think that their academy always produced really good players, but then it seems like every other big team is investing in their academy, so they're not really taking players from these teams anymore. I think Chelsea have pretty much the best academy right now.
Mm-hmm.
United have a decent one, so do Arsenal, so the City as well. So we're gonna see less of players like like the time when Liverpool was pretty much just raiding Southampton for their players. We're not gonna see that anymore.
And I think that's better for the
Yeah,
development of the league and the young players.
You could say it's better for Southampton, but then it also means less money coming in.
Not for them specifically. I just mean for the Premier League as a whole. To be able to develop young players and fit them into teams from a young age, and
Yeah, so those are my predictions to go down. Who is like your team to watch?
Team to watch. Let's see. Team to watch. I would say team to watch. That's a I want to see what Nottingham Forest do in their first season back. Like I'm very curious. I think Lingard will do well for them. I'll be surprised. Like I would be surprised if they're in the bottom half towards the end of the season.
Really? You think they're?
I mean,
that
I won't be
good?
that surprised, but
I mean,
it's the first season. There's always something about. Teams have to adjust to playing a team that they haven't. So
I mean, I sort of
curious.
get it. I mean, they had a decent run in the FA Cup last year. I mean, they beat Arsenal, they beat Leicester, I believe, and another Premier League team until Liverpool beat them. Liverpool only beat them by 1 goal. So, yeah. I mean, that's a good shout, but mine is Newcastle. Because, this is going to be the first full season under Eddie Howe, and they've also brought in some new players as well. And so, like, I'm just very interested to watch, the trajectory of Newcastle.
Yeah, I didn't want to say Newcastle because I feel like everyone is already watching them. Like, so I was like, let me see who could be more under the radar. But yeah, I also think Newcastle is going to be a very interesting proposition for a lot of teams this season. So yeah.
All right, who do you think will be the disappointment?
The disappointment. The disappointment. I think.
Okay, it's been 10 hours now.
Maybe Aston Villa or Leicester. Maybe more Leicester, to be honest. Because I wanted to say Chelsea, but the thing is, they're just so unpredictable for me right now with everything that's happening with them.
Well, I'm sort of leaning in the same way. I was thinking Leicester, but then I was like, am I just saying that because of what I saw last season? But then that also could applies to Everton as well. Well,
I feel like Everton are already disappointing a lot of people.
Yeah, but I mean, the season hasn't started. It's very possible that everything that didn't work last season just clicks this season. And yeah, so for me, it's between those two teams.
Which one? Everton and Leicester?
Everton and Leicester, because I expect so much more from them.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
So well, I would say the others are just like teams like Crystal Palace are just always in the middle. They're always gonna be there.
I think actually maybe I should have said my one to watch would be Crystal Palace, because this is gonna be Vieira's second season as a coach there, and I don't know how well they've invested. But
yeah, I haven't followed theirs as well. The only thing I looked at is their New Jersey, which I think is fire.
so yeah,
I don't know if you saw it.
no, I didn't see it.
Oh my god, dude! It like honestly, if you take their away jersey, looks like someone just took red and blue markers on a white shirt and just and just drew over it. But I think it looks really good.
Oh, maybe I did see it. Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw that. Well, I saw the away one. I didn't see the others.
Yeah, the away one is fire.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I don't know. I like the home one better. It looks like a kid just took crayons and just like like.
Yeah, but then they made it work.
I think I like the home one better in my opinion.
For me, it's between the away and the third.
I mean, but what I do like is that it's very different from what we normally see.
Yeah,
You know.
you still see Crystal Palace. You don't just
Yeah.
see, oh, maybe the
Like I don't think
designers
they've had such an
were-
interesting design
yeah
ever.
It doesn't look like the designers were just being wild for no reason. It
Yeah.
still screams, Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a nice kit. I definitely expect to see people rocking it.
Yeah. So anyway, so we've done our disappointments teams to watch. So now we're gonna do our top 7. I said top 7 because those are all the European places. 7th is Conference League. 5th and 6th is Europa League, and 1 to 4 is Champions League. So starting with number 7, who's your number 7?
My number 7. I will go for. I think in my brain it's always easier to start the other way around, but maybe West Ham.
Okay, the Hammers.
Honestly, they could be 6 too, but I just feel like competition this year is very difficult.
Okay, West Ham for 7th. And okay, then who comes in the Europa League places, 5th and 6th?
I'm gonna go for Man U.
Or Man U in 6th?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how much they will progress. I think maybe they'll progress more in cup competitions. 5th, I'll go for who will be 5th? I'm not sure. I think Chelsea still has a lot about them. You know, they could be 4th, but there's no way I could really put Spurs as 5th because I feel like the Conte factor is just too.
The Conte factor overrides the Spursiness.
Yes, I think that's why a lot of people are giving them a lot of praise, because his track record speaks for itself. You never know, but even putting Chelsea 5th is a tough one.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks like there's gonna be some shuffling going on there, but I still think it's gonna be a pretty tight table.
Yeah.
So who's your final? So United and what, Chelsea? What you saying?
Yeah, it sounds ludicrous, but to put Chelsea there now, but I can't think of any other like, because my top four would be. Honestly, I'm gonna go for Liverpool this season. I understand Haaland is there, and yes, everyone believes. Listen, they're just too good. They're just gonna continue. To a certain extent, I believe that they could be doing okay in the first half of the season, and then just pick up some blazing form in the second half. But everyone, has to remember about the World Cup and how that's going to going to affect a lot of the players.
That will affect Liverpool as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to affect every team. I don't know. I just feel like for Klopp to be there and only win one out of the past how many seasons, and for Pep to have won four, or how many have they won? They've won four, right?
Yeah, they've won 4 out of the last 5. And
Yeah.
if they win this, it will be the first three-peat in the Premier League since Manchester United.
Yeah, I really think Liverpool just need to do a madness this season, because Man City have sold some of their important players, even though they have brought in reinforcements. That gelling in for new players in a Pep system does take a bit of a while. So yeah, I'll go for Liverpool, even though it's unpopular opinion. And then City.
So third and fourth is what, between Spurs and Arsenal for you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen a bunch of people with that same top 4 as well, but they probably more with City at the top and then Liverpool second. I mean, it's not, you can't really go wrong with either of them, honestly. Let me see, for my top 7. For 7th, I was thinking West Ham as well, but then I still think, who knows, maybe, hopefully someone can challenge them for that. But I think that's pretty much theirs, cemented, as long as the other teams do what they're supposed to do. Yeah, 5th and 6th, yeah, I pretty much see United there. And then I still feel like we're all being a bit too quick to write off Chelsea.
Yeah, that's why I was very apprehensive to.
Yeah, but it's just that, but based off their window, it sort of makes sense why. It's why I always feel like, you can make your beginning of the season predictions, but I feel like at the middle of the season, after the first 18 games, right, I mean the first 19 games, at that point you should be allowed to make some adjustments.
Yeah, mid-season predictions.
Yeah, but we can't do that right now, so it still just feels weird. But like, yeah, I would. Yeah, I'll put Chelsea there as well. So I mean, it's gonna be pretty similar to yours, and then I'll have Spurs in 4th, because I know the Conte factor is huge, but the thing is that Conte doesn't have a great record when it comes to like cups and like those tournament style stuff. He hasn't, and I think the only time he's ever won a cup was when he was at Juventus, and he pretty much had the best team in the league there. And the last time he got to like final, no, I'm wrong. I think maybe in his second season in Chelsea, he won the FA Cup. And the last time he did anything in Europe was when he got to the Europa League final with Inter, and they lost to Sevilla when they won their 4th.
To be fair, I mean,
the thing that Conte does better in the league than he always does in cups, and I think if we didn't have this Liverpool team with Klopp and this City team with Pep, I could probably unfortunately see Spurs
them mounting a title challenge.
Yeah, mounting a.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
They still can, because this is the first time you could say that Spurs are actually, listening to the manager that they have, thanks to the pull that Conte has. And I could say this is the first time they're, rather than just trying to replace players that they've sold, they're actually just getting depth. To spend 60 million on Richarlison,
Yeah, I
for
mean,
them,
most people didn't expect that, and I think that's what has made people
yeah,
take
no,
them more seriously.
no one has seen that at Spurs. Even Spurs fans haven't seen that before. They they didn't even know how to feel to react about it.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
but I would say, like you mentioned, the fact that when he did win the league with Chelsea before, it was a league that was most of the teams were underperforming. I mean, Pep and Klopp hadn't really established themselves the way they have now, and the other teams were not
I,
doing as
I,
well that season.
I think you're doing a bit of a disservice to what he
No,
did there, because
he did an amazing job. What I'm saying
he
is
started that season really poorly. He did. It wasn't until a couple of games in. I think it was after.
it was like, I think 10 games in or something.
Yeah, it was after they got like a good smashing from Arsenal that he switched to
Back three.
yeah, to a 3-4-3, and that's when they went on like 13 games, 13 game win streak, and that's what won them the league.
Yeah, but what I mean by that is, I just feel like the Premier League is significantly stronger.
Oh yeah, it's way stronger right now. There's
I mean,
no doubt about
every
that.
team, even Man U that came sixth last season, is stronger
Yeah, than they
now
were last season.
with a new manager, and I would say the Premier League has probably the best managers in the world all competing at the same time in one league. So I think it's not going to be as the same as when.
Yeah, no, that's why I said, like, if those two managers weren't there, then I could see. Excuse me. I could see Spurs, really doing something, but with them there, I just don't see them. I mean, because with those other teams, they have. I say Liverpool and City have match winners almost all over those teams.
Mm-hmm.
With Spurs, it's just Son and Kane. They're world class match winners. Don't get me wrong, but you feel like without those two, they're even with the reinforcement that they've brought in, they're nowhere close to those two teams.
Yeah,
And because let's not kid ourselves, the reason why they got top four was because of those two players. They had two world class strikers that scored them the goals they needed, while Arsenal didn't. Plain and simple. So, but then the highest I can see them finishing is third, but I'm gonna put them in fourth, and I'll put Arsenal in third. I feel like they're not gonna like win the league or maybe make people think that maybe they might win the league or anything like that. But I think the top two is a separate race from the other two spots, or from pretty much from all the other spots. So I think I would still give it to City to win the league, because the last couple of seasons, City always started slowly, and then they'll start slow. I mean, like last season, they lost their first game to Spurs, and then they'll start slow, and then they'll go on maybe like 17 or 18 games win streak, and then wrap up the league, like maybe in February or March.
I think it'll be a little bit closer this year.
No, I agree. It probably will be, but I still see them edging it.
I don't think Liverpool.
I just feel that Guardiola knows how to handle a league much better than Klopp does.
Right. But I don't think Liverpool's going to be 13 points behind like they were at the start of the year.
No, there's no way they'll be that. So that's it. I still see City winning. And while we're here, let's just who do you think might win the Champions League?
The Champions League. That is just an entirely different proposition right now. But I honestly feel like the way Barcelona has recruited this season, they're gonna have a really good chance. That is, if all the players gel together well. Real will always be there or thereabouts. I still don't see City winning it. I don't see PSG winning it. So maybe Barcelona or Real Madrid.
I think City might actually win it because I feel like if they falter in the league, the Champions League is probably where because one. I think if they had a center forward like Haaland playing against Chelsea in that game, they probably would have won it then.
I mean, that would be amazing.
So
If
I feel like bringing in Haaland was mainly more for that rather than just the league.
Oh yeah,
Because I just feel like if they don't win the league this year, yeah, it will hurt, but it won't hurt as much because they've been eating good the last couple of years.
I could see that. I could see that, but for me, the Champions League again, those competitions are more unpredictable. But yeah, we'll see how that one works out. I think lastly we should do just run through the fixtures for the upcoming weekend quickly.
Yes. So, first game is Crystal Palace versus Arsenal.
I'm gonna go with Arsenal 3-1.
3-1. Very bold prediction. Okay, on Saturday we have Fulham versus Liverpool.
Probably a 3-0.
Yeah, it's probably thinking how many goals Liverpool will score. And then we have Bournemouth versus Villa.
This is going to be a little unpredictable since Bournemouth just came back, but they're playing at home. I'll go for a 1-1.
Okay, then we have Leeds versus Wolves.
This is going to be juicy. This is going to be interesting.
Wolves threw away a 2-goal lead against them.
Yeah. And the way I think both teams play is very... there's an aggressiveness to both teams. So I'll go with Leeds because they're playing at home, and they'll want to make a statement in the first game. But I don't think it'll be easy. It might be a 1-0.
Okay, then Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest.
Oh, this is also going to be really good. Man, I honestly can't predict this game, but I think Newcastle should win it, but Nottingham Forest might have a couple of tricks up their sleeves that we don't know about yet. So I think Newcastle should win it like 2-1.
Okay, then Spurs Southampton.
I mean, this should be easy for Spurs. First game at home. Everyone's excited. Conte, players they brought in. So that should be like a 2-0.
Okay, then...
Actually, sorry, that might be a 3-0.
Either way, it's a Spurs win.
Yeah.
Then the last game on Saturday, Everton versus Chelsea. Battle of the Blues.
Chelsea should win this.
You're thinking? I think it's a Chelsea win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, even with them not having, I still think they will have
Chelsea should win this.
For Everton. Then on Sunday, we have Leicester versus Brentford.
Oh, I'm not too sure about this one. I'll go with a 1-1 draw. Oh, sorry, 2-2.
Okay, then United versus Brighton.
Should be a 2-1 to United.
And finally, for game day 1, West Ham versus Man City.
West Ham have brought in some decent players. They got Scamacca. And I think like away games like these are a bit of an Achilles heel sometimes for City. But on the first game of the season, I think, HAALAND, all those guys, Alvarez that they also brought in, they'll want to really show up. So this could be a this could be a 2-1 to City. Yeah. I think that's all the games.
Yeah, that's all the games for the first game day of the season. It's good to have the Premier League back. Once again, we're back, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Oh, and before we go, we finally set up our Twitter page. Be sure to follow. It's at Football by the Sea, but it's just SE, not SEA at the end. So tweet at us, ask us questions, do anything. Looking forward to hearing from you.
All right, guys. I'm John.
And I'm Jide, and we'll catch you next week. Take care. Bye.